Hello, how are you? This video is to talk about computers and gigabyte for RAM, CPU, mainboard, graphics card, right? Well, I already saw some people saying that with 4 gigabytes is very low, not possible. For example, that an i7 is the minimum and nothing said about the mainboard. For me, is a huge error. Why? Well, I did some research and studies towards programming, okay? I learned some C, C++, C Sharp, and Python. And I was doing a service with Celeron, but I also have one Core 2 Quad and the platform in general, both LGA 775. Yes, very old. Well, I released that with the Celeron in one type of mainboard doing one task and another one with the Core 2 Quad. The Celeron wasn't having any problem about freezing the computer while testing one task I am doing. With the Core 2 Quad, yes, it occurred. Not one, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I also tried Core 2 Duo, the same. So, I make some researches and talked with a person that really said that the chipset is very important. So, in my concern, even if I am wrong, as the mainboard carries out all the rest, for example, RAM, support for SSD or HDD, about CPU and graphics card, I believe the mainboard is the most important part. About upgrades too. The CPU is also good, also great, sure. It's about the processing things, for example. And the graphics card for video or, sure, gaming, but not the case, as I am focused about work. It is also important, but not so much. The RAM, okay, gigahertz, megahertz, it's important, but you have to look for the cache latency too. That is the timing about response. And SSD, so important. I was using an HDD with some failures. The system was very heavy with a lot of high usage for the RAM and the CPU, and it was freezing a lot of times using Windows 10. Right now I am using Intel Core 2 Quad, Asus P5KLSE, 4 gigabytes of RAM DDR2 with a Patriot Burst Elite of 120 gigabyte on SSD, sorry, and a graphics card, a Quadro from NVIDIA. For me, for the time it was released, very good, and the system is marvelous. Sure, if I wish to use a lot of plugins, it will freeze, sure, but you have to consider all the elements, not only one or two or three, but mainly the main board, for example. Not every upgrade will be necessarily good. So all of that is so important. Not only gigabytes, CPU, for example. And what if you have an i7 for the first generation and you switch for an i5 from the 8th generation? In this case, the i5 is way better